In this video, let's talk about OS minimalism. I recall when I first got into Linux, I was very drawn to terminal-based applications, mostly because they looked cool. But I also liked reducing the time spent moving my hand between the keyboard and the mouse. In one of my college classes, I remember the professor talking about that phenomenon. So I started making an effort, reducing the amount of time I spent moving my hand between the keyboard and the mouse. The desire for terminal-based and keyboard-driven applications drove me more and more into minimalistic tools. I switched my OS to Linux, I think Ubuntu at the time, then to Arch Linux, then to Artix, so I could drop systemd. Then I started using a keyboard-driven window manager, i3. Then I switched to DWM so that there weren't as many lines of code. Then I tried to suckless all the things. I did all of this in an effort to pare down my computer's software to the point where I couldn't feasibly go further. I did try going without an X session and just using tmux to split windows and using Lynx as a web browser, but I couldn't make that work. So I decided to settle on DWM as my window manager, and I haven't gone back since. But even then, I tried harder and harder to make my software footprint more lightweight. Eventually, I realized that maybe I had a slight behavioral addiction. People can have addictions to the strangest sorts of things. In Anna Lempk's book, Dopamine Nation, she talks about how she had an addiction to reading romance novels. I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently it is. She also talked about another person who had an addiction to ordering things on Amazon and opening the boxes. My understanding of how this works is basically that the dopamine receptors in the brain gets charged anytime you engage in some pleasurable activity. Then the brain resets itself. But repeating the pleasurable behavior has a shortened and weakened effect on the brain, and the reset time is longer and stronger. So in order to achieve the same pleasurable effect as before, you have to engage in more of the behavior that gave you that pleasurable feeling. The dosage of the behavior then increases more and more until it poses serious social and mental health risks. The first step to take in getting rid of those sorts of addictions seems to be just getting rid of the thing you're addicted to. Obviously, if you're addicted to a substance, you need to get professional help. In this video, I'm just talking about behavioral addictions. It seems to me one of the things individuals can get an addiction to is a minimalistic lifestyle. There's more and more paring down until almost nothing useful is left. While minimalism in lifestyle is championed by those who reduce as many of their physical possessions as possible, minimalism on your operating system is more championed by those who reduce the amount of software on their computer. OS minimalism basically consists of reducing the software footprint on your computer so that there are minimal number of applications doing unnecessary things. And those applications that are running are as lightweight as possible. And I have no problem whatsoever with people keeping things clean and organized. And I have no problem with minimalistic distributions, window managers, or tools. I'm more describing a behavioral problem in which finding a more lightweight solution is kind of like finding your next fix. But if you don't have that particular behavioral problem, just replace everything I've said so far with, YouTube, Shorts, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. In my experience, you can go mad with OS minimalism. Trying to find the smallest, most lightweight tool can waste more time than had you just gone outside and breathed the fresh air for a little while. It's almost a subtle running joke of the Linux community, finding the next smallest tool. Is the ls command weighing you down? Here's a smaller, more lightweight version. The fact is, I use non-minimalistic applications sometimes. I even have a Windows partition on my laptop. Do I like the Windows OS more than Linux? No. But sometimes it's the only possible way to run an application. So, OS minimalism, in a nutshell, is the somewhat addictive behavior of trying to get your operating system as lightweight as possible. The real question you should ask is, why? Now, if your laptop is 10 years old, I applaud you for trying to get your computer to work. But let's face it, a whole lot of people who run Arch Linux today have enough money to buy better hardware. With modern hardware, the practical difference between Arch Linux and Artix Linux is basically just the idealism. One of the best cures for this sort of minimalistic addiction is to run some sort of non-minimalistic window manager or distribution for a little while. I did this with KDE Plasma, and I think it was good for me. The point at which I decided I should probably switch back to DWM was when I installed extensions into KDE Plasma that allowed me to emulate the window management and key bindings of DWM. Then I realized my preference for DWM wasn't the minimalism in the software itself. It was really the speed at which I could use my computer. Getting back to that hover time between the keyboard and the mouse that my professor talked about. Enough anecdotes. A better alternative lifestyle that I'm trying to adopt with my computer usage is this. Use the tool for the job. There's a place for Vim and LaTeX, and there's a place for LibreOffice Writer. If you're doing a budget, maybe try running LibreOffice Calc instead of writing scripts in R. If you want to be a programmer for a startup, which requires maximum speed and efficiency, you may want to take the time to learn Vim or NeoVim. I won't say that simplicity is ideal or minimalism is ideal. Living a whole and balanced life is ideal. If you're too busy to say goodnight to your kids in the evening, you probably need to take a break from your computer. If you literally don't have any friends because you spend all of your time on your computer, you need to go out and get engaged in a real-life community. Take swing dancing classes or something. If your life consists of no more than the thing that excites your dopamine receptors, take a break. Anyway, I hope you're able to walk away from those things that are currently plaguing you. It takes a stiff upper lip to say no to those things. But now it's time to be vicious. Viciously cut off your vices from you. You'll thank me later.